In this video, we're going to focus on how we can put in here a pointer that will point on a horizontal bar chart here, which is quite nice. And we're going to use font awesome icons for this. So let's start to look how we can do this. So let's start to look how we can add the arrow pointers in a horizontal bar chart in Chartjs. So the first thing what we need is we need to go to chartjs3.com getting started, this specific link here, which you can find as well in the description box. And in here we need the boiler template. So let's copy this entire boiler template here. Copy this. And if you want to understand what this does, make sure you watch this video here, explains it all. I'm going to paste that in here, cut out the title, and put that in here. Save this, and what I want to do is I want to make sure that this will be 80%, so the chart is nice and big. There we are. So now I want to convert this into a horizontal bar chart. So I'm going to scroll down here. And what I'm going to say here is in the options, we're going to say index axis, and this will be equal to the y-axis. So what will happen is we will swap this with that, refresh, there we are. Alright, so now we have this. The next thing what I want to do is I want to start drawing the item, and we're going to go in the options here, or at least here, on the parentheses of the options, or sorry, curly braces, put a comma here, say plugins, bracket, and then we can say here arrow pointer, to create our own plugin. Then what I'm going to do here, I'm going to say / arrow pointer plugin block, and then I'm going to say a constant arrow pointer equals this ID arrow pointer, and then we're going to draw the item. So what I want to do is I want to draw this arrow pointer basically after the dataset has been drawn. So I'm going to say after data sets draw, then I'm going to say here chart.args and plugins, or plugin options, doesn't matter. And then what I want to do here is I want to do an object destructuring, so I'm going to say constant equals curly braces, oh sorry, this should be constant curly braces equals chart. If you don't understand what I'm doing here, I'm going to recommend you in the description box, there's a video about understanding the object destructuring in Chartjs. Very important to know. So then what I want to do here is we're going to say here ctx dot, and then maybe here the chart area, I'm not sure if we need this, and say here top, bottom, left, right, and then maybe width and height, although I don't think we need it. Next what we can do here is the scales, and the scales will be x and y. So once we have this, what I want to do is I want to start drawing the item here. So the drawing will be basically based on the font awesome icons, so we're going to later on implement them. So the first thing what we're going to do here is, well, let's start to draw something. So we're going to ctx.fill style equal, and here we're going to put in here color. In this case I'm just going to grab this color, and later on we're going to fine tune this by making it like a plugin style where you can specify it in the options. So that will be fun. So once we have this, next what I want to do is I want to say here the ctx, and we're going to put in here dot font. Remember I said we're going to use font awesome. So what I'm going to do here now is we go to cdnjs.com or any other item, and if you are on this, usually we'll be starting at 6.1 and then just go here to 4.7. I'm using the older version of 4.7 because that tend to work much better compared to the others. So I'm going to grab this because I want to put in the CSS link. So I'm going to put in here, paste that in there, and once I paste it in there, what I want to do is I just want to copy this, and I'm going to save this here, refresh, and it just takes some time if I'm not mistaken, or is it giving an error on number 88? Let's see here, of course we didn't specify this yet. Alright, so we have this here. So then we have this, we have here the font awesome, basically you can just put that in there. And the reason why I'm doing this is I want to show you what we need. So this will be important. So if I go to scroll down here, we have here the font. First of all, what I want to specify is the pixel amount. In this case it will be 20 pixels. And then we have here the font family. In this case, the font family is not sans serif or something like that, but the font awesome, which is defined in CSS. This is the reason why I have this link here. You can see here, if you're wondering what is the font family name, you can see here in the font face, font awesome with capital F, capital A. So we're going to say here the font family of font awesome. Once we did this, ctx dot what is that, the fill text to put in the text that we want. So in this case, we're going to put in here the text, comma, the X position and the Y position. So what I'm going to do here, I'll just put in 100 by 100. And here, we're going to look for the specific icon. So the specific icon, we're going back in here, and I'm going to search here for the icons. Alright. And once we're on here, and this is version 4, remember, I'm going to say here, arrow down, for example. So once we see here, we have all these options here, and I think this would be a very nice one. Or maybe even a caret, one or the other. But I'm going to use the arrow down here. And you can see here we get the Unicode. This is very, very crucial. Because this is the way how we're going to define basically the font family specific icon that we have. So what I'm going to do here, the text is a string value. And then I'm going to say here, backslash. And then U for uni font, if I'm not mistaken, or uni icon or something like that. And then we're going to put in the items, or Unicode, sorry, that's the right term. The Unicode, because there are 6 characters here. And if I save this now, what will happen and refresh, you can see here it draws this. If we don't define this, we only say yes, sans serif, for example, it will not recognize this item here, and we get a square or a rectangle like this. So if you have this, it means that it doesn't recognize the item here. So probably your font family name is incorrect. So make sure you have the right one. Save, refresh, there we are. So now we have done one of the items, and what I want to do is I want to put it here or pinpoint it somewhere. So what I'm going to do now is basically pinpoint it on the position. To pinpoint it on the position, all we need to do here is basically work on this item here. I'm going to say here X, and then I'm going to say here, and if you're wondering why X, because we have the scale here X, and then I'm going to say here dot get pixel for value. This here is a nice command from Chartjs itself, which basically indicate whatever the value is. In this case we have the X, so let's say we have number 5, we want to pinpoint a number 5 here. Number 5 on the X scale will be converted from a 5 into the pixel value of that. So if I save that, refresh, there we are, and even if I do like this and change that, number 5 will still be here, except then of course we're still not on the correct position on the Y level, which is the vertical level. So that's what we need to do next. This one is far more tricky, because you might say, well, all we need to do is basically this. Put that in there and just say here on the Y, and then we say here index 0. And if you're wondering index 0, because it's the Monday, it's the first item. However, it doesn't work like that. If I do this, you can see here what is happening. We're going exactly at the center line here. And that is not what we want. We want to be just on top here. So we have some tricks that we need to do. We need to calculate the width, or basically the height of this part of the bar. So that is a really tricky one. So what we're going to do here is, first of all, what I want to do here, I want to remove that, or at least make that a bit more nicer, by creating a plugin here. So I'm going to say here plugins, and I'm going to say here curly braces, and then what I want to do is I want to grab here the arrow pointer ID. This is basically the way how I can pinpoint this object or plugin specifically. So I'm going to put that in there, and then what I want to do here is this will be, well, let's say here plugins dot, let's say here the pointer, or the value, I guess, or pointer value, that might be the most logical. So what I'm going to do here down, I'm going to say pointer value equal to number 5. And if we do this, this will recognize where to grab that value. If I save that, refresh, you can see here nothing has changed really visually, but at the back we have adjusted it. So if I do this number 6, refresh, you can see it jumps number 6, but of course it's still not, well, it is correct because we need to put it in the center. So let's do that one, and then you will see that will be probably looking much better. So ctx.text align equals center. Save that. There we are. So now we're pointing exactly on the 6, and we can move that around nicely. So now we need to make sure this on the vertical level that we point here up. To do that, we need to do some tricks. So what I'm going to do here, first of all, is I need to figure out what is the width of the bar But basically I need to know what is the width of this segment here. This from this point to here. To do that, we need to calculate the width, or sorry, the height of this. So the height of this segment here. So we need to calculate the height here, divide by how many data points we have. In this case, we have 7 items. So what we're going to do here, the height is already pre-calculated with the chart area. So all we're going to do here is constant. And we're going to say here, let's say here bar height equals height divide by, and then we're going to say here is we can get the data labels, which indicates how many items we have. So to do that, I'm going to say here data, comma, and then what we're going to do here is just data dot data sets index 0 dot maybe we don't even need to do that, we just can grab the labels. So we just go from data directly to labels instead of data sets. That makes far more sense, just easier. So data dot labels, semicolon, save, refresh. Alright, so we have this first one here. This will calculate the height. Of course you don't see anything because we didn't do anything here, but if I put in this here, maybe we can see a certain item in here. Let's put that in there, save, refresh. Alright, doesn't work here, it's alright. That's the first one. Oh, of course, probably we need to do here plus this. If I do that, I don't see anything here. That's interesting. So we have the bar height plus 0. So what we can say here, oh, alright. What is the issue here is because of this. Most likely, let me show you, because this is probably a constant or a none, not a number. The reason why is I didn't say here the length, and that's my bad. So I'm going to put that in there, save, refresh. Open up developer tab, you can see here not a number. The reason why is I need to say the length of this. So I'm forgetting the length. Labels.length, save, make sure you spell it correctly. TH, refresh. Now we get that. Apparently 54 pixels. If I do here, that will be about 54 pixels. Alright, or probably bigger depending on the size of your screen and of course the size of your chart. So we have this one here. And what we want to do here is 2 more items. To calculate this, we basically also have what we call the bar percentage and the category percentage, which are items in here. So we're going to put them in here as well. So we say here bar percentage, which is by default 0.8. So I just keep it on 0.8, but I need to have these. And we have here the category percentage. And this one is 0.9 if I'm not mistaken. So these two already by default are in there, but you might not notice them because they are already set as a default value. So what I want to do here is basically I want to grab these items and then calculate, because we have here this, and this will put exactly in the center. So basically I need to go up, and to do that is first of all we can say here the bar height divided by 2. So what I'm going to do here, this by that, and then divide by number 2. So we get the bar height. So if I do here now a plus or maybe a negative, it should go up here. Alright, so it goes up, but as you can see here, we're still off. And the reason why we're still off here is simply of 2 items. First of all, we have here a baseline alignment that is still not correct. So let's do that one. And we're going to say here, enter, say ctx.text baseline. And this is very similar to a table cell where you can put it top, middle, or bottom. And we're going to say here, I guess this should be maybe bottom, because we want to push it to the very top. So that means that ignore the bottom and push it always up. There we are. So now you can see here we are probably a few pixels off here, and this could be because of the font icon that has some pixels here at the space between. Doesn't matter about that, but we are now basically here, so this is correct. However, what we want to do now is calculate the space here, because this is not fully 1. If this is 1 and this is 1, you will see that this will be probably exactly on here. Alright, so we want to undo this. Oh, put that back, save, refresh, and get this one here. So to do that is basically these tiny differences here need to be calculated within our bar height. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say here constant. I'll just keep it bar height number 2 equals bar height multiplied by what exactly? The bar percentage. So how do we get there? Well, from data dot data sets index 0 dot and then we need to get, of course, the bar percentage. we do this, then we can put it in here and we save that, refresh. You can see here we're getting closer in. Now, final item is here the category percentage that needs to be considered as well. And I say, and we're going to multiply the data sets index 0 dot category percentage. Save, refresh. And now we are here, except we have still 1 or 2 tiny pixel differences. So what I'm going to do here, we can just say here. So we have this here, the bar height here, and we should have it now nicely, except what we want to do is maybe increase this with 1 or 2 pixels. So what I'm going to do here, we have this, I'm going to say plus 2 pixels. Very simple. Refresh, there we are. So now we have this here. And I can imagine, of course, what we want to do is maybe we want to have multiple values. So what we're going to do here is going to make a for loop. And in the for loop, what we're going to do here is going to say here, enter. I'm going to say here. Let's play around with that. We have this pointer value here. I'm going to use this as our example, but I'm going to do here the following. I'll make it an array, and I'm going to say here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I guess 6 and 7. If we do this, we will probably go eventually like a item that, well, I don't know if we will have some floating items like this one here, but that doesn't matter. So I'm going to save that. And then what I want to do here is a for loop. So say here, data, not even data, sorry, we have this value here, so that's the pointer value that's in a plugin. So all what I'm going to say here, plugins, that's this one here, dot pointer value, and then we're going to say here dot for each, and then in here I'll just say value comma index. So we might need the index, but I'm not sure, maybe we can just skip that. And then I'm going to say here this, but then I'm going to say here a function error expression, curly braces, cut this item, put that in here. And then what we can say here, we have the pointer value here. It's for each, but it's just this value here. I'm going to put that in there. Save that, refresh. Alright, so now we get this, but now I want to put them down as well. So to put them down, we have to work here on the value, get pixel for value, and this here should be, instead of 0, should be index. Because we got this one here. Save, ignore this, refresh, there we are. So what we could do finally is still one color. We could just say here maybe a separate color. What I'm going to do is, we can grab here a color by just saying here pointer color, for example, pointer color. And we can just say here maybe blue or red. Let's make it blue, that's fine. Just going to show you the sample here so you understand this. But later on I will just grab it from the data itself. So I have the blue, if you put it in here, this pointer color here will be, or should be, cut out and put it within this for loop, or for each loop. Then I'm going to say here, this will be the item. Well, I said here about blue, I guess what we could do that doesn't make even sense, or doesn't matter so much in my case. Let's show you this one here, first the pointer color, and then I'm going to loop through that, because I want to get eventually the data. I already have that in my head, but I'm going to say pointer color, just to show you this one. Save, refresh, and there you are. So you can see here, we can change this to green, save, refresh, it does recognize it. Alright, so I don't want to use this, I'm going to ignore this, and it's going to get here, of course, the items from our border color here. That's already beautiful. So what we can do here is we're going to say here, move this, we're going to say data set index 0 dot, and I'm going to say here border color, save, refresh. Alright, interesting. We have the border color here, and of course the reason why it didn't work, I need to put in here array, then say here index, because we want to loop through the index. Save that, refresh, there we are. Now we have them with all these multiple colors, and we're pinpointing this, and if we change these values here, let's say 5, save, there we are. Beautiful. And that's basically how you can create these pointers here. So if you enjoyed this video, and maybe you want to, for example, change the scale for it with the font, awesome icons, or even the tooltip, in that case I'm going to recommend you this specific video where you can continue on how to use the font awesome in Chartjs, where we work on the scales and on the tooltip and even on the title here or legend itself.